Well, I won't prolong this anymore. I'll start the meeting. Jen, we have a quorum, is that right?
We do.
Okay. So let's see. And I apologize. So you're going to have to talk over me if someone's trying to ask a question because I can't see you to do that. But let's see. The first, where's my agenda? Oh, agenda. Okay. We sent out the minutes. Everybody had a chance to review them?
Yes.
If so, if there's no changes or I'll accept the motion to approve.
Make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I assume there's no public forum, and is that correct?
I don't see anyone.
Okay. And John's on vacation,
Yes.
so that brings Jeff up. Have at it, Jeff.
Thank you. The main things I wanted to talk about tonight was the sewer ordinance and then also the rules and regs. The rules and regs have been one of those things that have been kind of kicking around for quite a while, and we had a consultant actually helping us out with that a couple years back. That was our CADIS engineers who have subsequently come in and given us a presentation on SCADA, you may remember, for John. When we last met in July, I had put it forward to the commission, and the commission voted approval to support an ordinance change, except the scope of what I was asking for was limited to the local limits, which have to do with the industrial pretreatment program. What that has to do with is the pollutant loading that the East plant can take and treat and still have us meet our NIPDES permit. And then the second thing I wanted to get squared away was in an error in the previous update that inadvertently removed the sewer connection permit fees. I think that when Arcadis was helping us out with this a couple of years ago, they were envisioning that these would be going side by side, and we would address both the ordinance and the rules and regs at the same time. Well, we ended up doing the ordinance update, and the rules and regs kind of held off a little bit. So this was an oversight. I wanted to get that corrected. And then also in the month of July, after we had last gotten together, the commission, Wastewater was going through our letter response we were preparing for US EPA. US EPA did a industrial pretreatment program audit on us, and that was back in May of 2020. So we were preparing a letter response to the feedback we had gotten from EPA. And one of the main things that had come out in that was my predecessor, Joe Jordan, had prepared an ordinance update that was compliant with the National Pretreatment Program's streamlining rule. This has to do with the industrial pretreatment program, and there was a number of updates to the ordinance that was specific to addressing those requirements. Well, Joe had gotten that ordinance reviewed and approved by EPA, but I don't think something broke down where the ordinance didn't actually go through City Council to get reviewed and adopted. So part of what and I apologize for sending it out late. I sent it out late this morning, I believe. There was a cover letter and 2 attachments. One of the 2 attachments was the ordinance updates, and each update had its own gray shaded heading. The first one being definitions, but most of these ordinance updates have to do with that streamlining rule, the local limits, and then also correcting some of those hiccups we had in the last ordinance update. Nothing is proposed or added that would change fees, add fees, change fee amounts. This is really to be compliant with what EPA puts upon us with respect to the pretreatment program. And then also to get the sewer connection fees incorporated back into ordinance. And I also added in the rates, sewer billing rates schedule table, so that would get inserted into the ordinance update. So I'm asking the commission for a vote of support so that I can in turn put this forward to the city council so that it can get into the process of an ordinance update. The commission will delegate it to the Legislative Affairs Committee, and then it'll have a hearing, and then they'll make a vote and recommendation back to council as a whole. So
Jeff,
I'm sorry, Rick, go ahead.
What you're asking for is a motion to recommend to the city council approval of these changes. Is that what you're looking for?
Exactly right, Rick. Well said. I always struggle wording that properly.
Okay. So did you have more? Did you have more on that, Jeff?
No, that was it. If the commission wanted, we could run through this. It's 18 individual changes, and I've got it spread out over 39 pages of paper. So if you really wanted to go through this, we could. I'd be more than willing to do so. It's really geared towards those three principal subjects, though. The streamlining rule, the local limits, and then also cleaning up some errors from the previous ordinance update.
And as you say in your cover letter, you're not changing anything in our fees, and you're not changing anything in our pre-existing policies. Is that correct?
That's exactly correct.
Okay. What's your, again, I wish I could see your faces. I'd like to know, what's your pleasure, Commission? Do you want to hear the individual items, or are you comfortable with a motion here?
I'm comfortable with the motion.
Is there anybody that's not comfortable with the motion? Okay, if not, what I'm looking for is a motion to recommend to the City Council approval of the changes as presented. And you can make that correct wording if you need, Jeff. But essentially we're looking for approval as recommending to the City Council for approval of these changes. Someone want to make that motion?
Aye.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do we have discussion on the motion?
For your benefit, Rick, that was George that made the motion and Stephen that made the second.
That
Josh
it
made
is
the second.
okay. And is Jen getting that? Because I think we do need these unless if we have any non-unanimous motions. I think we need a roll call. Is that right?
I'm getting it all.
Okay. Good.
George motion first, Stephen seconded.
Josh
Okay.
seconded.
I'm sorry?
I seconded. Josh seconded.
Oh, sorry.
Stephen may have as well. I don't know. I don't mean to step on your toes here, Steve.
I only heard Stephen, sorry.
See, I didn't hear Steve. I was talking. My big mouth is running.
Okay. We have a motion on the table. Is there discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing none, I'll take a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay, the motion carries. What else you got, Jeff?
The second piece, this kind of goes hand in hand, I made reference to before, was the rules and regs. And I attached that to my email as well. I'm calling this a final draft, and I'd like to put this forward to the commission for review, discussion, questions. I'm not necessarily asking that we take a vote or approve it tonight. One thing I will point out is that by the ordinance, City Code Chapter 147, the commission does have the authority to promulgate rules and regs. So if we were hypothetically to approve and adopt these rules and regs, the commission would still have it within their prerogative to adopt or adapt, modify those rules and regs. It's one of the main advantages to having this particular document. This, as I said, goes hand in hand with the ordinance, but this is more of a user-friendly, if you will, type of document. It's more meat and potatoes, and it's intended to deal with builders, developers, prospective customers, people looking to make connections, both residential, commercial, and industrial type properties. Right up front, section number 5 of the rules and regs, as I said, is the right to amend regulations. Beginning on page 4 of the document is definitions. This is not duplicate information from the ordinance. This is supplementary. This has a lot more detail, and it's not replicating definitions that are in the ordinance. This is more, again, meat and potatoes for interacting with constituents and builders, developers. Within this rules and regs documents, there's a number of subject areas that are held in the rules and regs document, but they point back to the ordinance just because the content is in the ordinance. This includes sections 12, 13, 49, 51, 52, 58, 59, 60, 61, and pieces of 72. These are all sections within the rules and regs. So the rules and regs is pared down in content, both in the definitions area and also in the meat of the rules and regs. And also it helps to not have duplication or the potential for contradicting information by having important information in one source as opposed to in 2 different areas. I apologize for giving this to the commission at the last minute. What I would propose is that the commission has an opportunity to digest this document, and then we can reconvene, and I'll address any questions, comments, concerns that the commission does have. If there are any questions at this point, I'd be happy to address them.
Obviously, I haven't had a chance to read them, but does anybody have questions on what you've been able to see so far?
Yes, I was able to go over it a little bit with Jeff earlier. I think this is a very good document that's overdue. This will give us, the wastewater division, it will give them a set of rules and regulations for the operation of the sewer system. I think it's, I think Jeff's recommendation that we take some time and, read it over the next couple of weeks and then come back at the next meeting and vote them in is a good approach.
Commission Chair, that would also fit in well with the timeline for the ordinance to pass through council. So that would work out perfectly fine if the commission were willing.
It seems like as long as we're fitting in, we're not in any rush, then having a chance to review it would be helpful.
Perfect.
Any disagreement on that?
Nope. I haven't looked at it.
Okay. What else you got, Jeff?
So with that,
we'll review. We'll address this again at next meeting. So this will be an item on the agenda.
And I'd be happy to take phone calls from any commission members or emails and address any concerns or questions offline as well.
Thanks.
So moving on, those 2 subjects were the main 2 subjects. I pretty much have updates. The SSU project is finally complete. We've got all our tankages back online. And we had some disruption to the process with the warranty work we were doing because we had to empty the very big circular clarifier tanks to be able to do the repair work, which was warranty work. But that each of those 2 big clarifier tanks on your way in handles 30% of the flow for the plants, where that stage of treatment handles 60% total between those 2 tanks. So taking taking a tank down had a significant effect. But now we're back up online and things are moving in a favorable direction. Since we last got together in July, wastewater with the procurement department put out to bid our next sewer separation project. That's the CSO 007, 011, 039, 048 separation and rehabilitation project. We actually got very good competitive bids. The apparent low bidder made a significant error and they requested to be released from their bid, and discussing it within DPW and also with the procurement officer, chief procurement officer, we thought it was beneficial to the city to be able to do that. We would have had a very contentious situation where a contractor would have been money grabbing at any opportunity he can to make up for his bad bid. So we allowed the apparent low bidder to withdraw his bid, and the second apparent low bidder was J.A. Polito and Sons out of Shrewsbury, Massachusetts. This contractor has a very good reputation. Their bid was well below our budgeted number, so that's the perfect way you want to start out a project. So we're working our way through the process of a notice of award. Because this is a CWSRF funded project, we need the DEP to authorize us to award the project. So we've got that request submitted into DEP that they permit us to award the project to J.A. Polito. If everything falls into line, we're hoping that the construction can begin in October. And the overall duration of this project, it's an approximate 1.5-year duration project. So it'll likely be in the spring or very early summer of 2022, I believe, to get us to completion. Moving forward with the updates, also last time we get together in July, I brought to the Commission's attention that we discovered a structurally deficient trunk sewer on Elm Street, and I had requested that we be allowed to pursue the repair of this sewer using our on-call contract. Well, we've since gotten a price proposal and accepted that price proposal and issued a task assignment to Blue Diamond Equipment, who's our on-call construction contractor. They've already ordered materials, they've mobilized to the site, they've set up sewage bypass pumping, so they're getting prepared to begin the work. They're going to be soft cutting through some concrete that underlays the asphalt in Elm Street this coming Saturday. So it'll be next week when they start getting into the construction of this, and this is approximately 350 feet of egg-shaped sewer. The SSES Phase 4 interceptor sewer evaluation, we've provided our review comments back to Weston and Sampson. They'll address those comments, and then we'll get ready to submit that. This is a consent decree deliverable. It's part of our SSES program, the Sewer System Evaluation Survey. Phase 4 has to do with the interceptor sewers. We have a review document of the combined manhole separation project. Again, this was a task assignment to Weston and Sampson where we had them develop separations for up to 150 combination manholes. We've been using this information to chip away at a number of separations in Green Acres. We were installing our last combination manhole today, which was kind of a monster of a structure. I think it's an 8-foot diameter manhole that is getting installed today. So we have been chipping away at combination manhole separations, and I believe we're approximately down to about 165, if I'm not mistaken, combination manholes remaining. Sewer cleaning design and bid and inspection service. This is a contract that's in progress right now. What this is Ted Berry Company. That's a company that's based out of Maine. They're doing cleaning of our siphon sewers and some of our large diameter trunk sewers. And then they're also doing condition assessment for us. My staff is able to handle sewers, our city sewers, up to about 18 inches in diameter. Once it gets larger than that, it gets beyond the scope of our abilities. But that 18 inches and down, that represents approximately 85% of the sewers. So we've done a majority of the work in-house, but by the virtue of these sewers being large diameter or complicated in the case of a siphon pipe, we ended up contracting this out to Ted Berry Company. They should be finishing up their work in the month of October. The wastewater management plan, this is also a consent decree deliverable. This is the very last remedial measure within the consent decree. Again, the wastewater management plan is kind of the zenith of the consent decree, and what it does is it pulls together everything that we've done and looks at what we still have to do to come into compliance so that DEP and EPA will allow us to be released from the consent decree. This second submission will be delivered to EPA and DEP by the end of this year. I have to apologize. I've got a typo here. On the agenda, it says December 31, 2021. It's actually this December 31, 2020. And that's what I had for updates.
Thanks, Jeff.
Any questions?
Any questions for Jeff? Anybody? Okay. Any other
I feel like I
business?
should have talked longer.
That's okay. We don't mind. Is there any other business?
No.
Okay, the next meeting is October 14th. And whether it's Zoom or at the Ringe Road building, we'll decide sooner rather than later, I guess.
Yes. Can I also mention, can I mention one more thing?
Yeah, please.
Looking ahead, I was talking to Nate about upcoming meetings. November meeting is scheduled for Veterans Day, November 11th. So that's the Wednesday. I don't know what we're gonna do. Do we want to go the next day, or maybe we can have some discussion on that?
Probably doesn't make sense to meet on a holiday, so let's
Correct.
just take a look. November 11th. Come on, let's open that up.
With the first Wednesday, could we do it the week before?
Yeah, the week before, the day after, the week after. I want to make sure I get it scheduled with Nate at FATV.
How does the 4th work for everybody?
Is that November 4th?
Yes.
So the week before?
The week before, does
Okay.
that make sense?
Should be
That's
fine.
fine.
Any objections to that?
Okay,
why don't
Be
we-
okay for me.
Okay,
Anything, I'd make it work.
Okay.
so why don't we just, we'll move that to the 4th, and we're gonna make sure we do whatever we're supposed to do to make sure the public meeting is aware of that, right?
Yeah, I'll make
Okay.
sure that I get that to the city clerk and me at FATV. So I just wanted to
Great.
run that by everyone.
Great. Any other business? Okay, if not, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Aye.
We are adjourned.